So I really want to feature a new team with the new Pokemon Greedent inside of it, but because it's only in raids and because I'm unlucky, I couldn't find one below 1500 CP. So instead you're going to get a video featuring the Spotlight Hour Pokemon Electivire. So Electivire is considered one of the best closers in the game because it generates energy quickly and it has really good coverage with both Wild Charge and Ice Punch. According to PvP Poke, a Shadow Electivire is the second best closer in the game, and Electivire itself is the 23rd best closer in the game, which is pretty good. After using it in a total of 10 games, I went positive going 7 and 10, which is okay, but I can tell you right now it wasn't because of Electivire. So I want to quickly interject. I actually hadn't realized that I was using Electivire with Thunder Punch, which is actually a really bad move on Electivire. You want to be using Wild Charge and using Ice Punch. After I made that change, I actually ended up going 9 and 1. So in these matches, I paired an Electivire with a double safe swap. It's going to be Hypno with Fire Punch and Thunder Punch, and Greedent with Body Slam and Crunch Force. The reason for this pairing is because both Greedent and Hypno don't need to shield very often, and on top of that, they do put a lot of shield pressure on most of your opponents. Because Electivire is a closer, as long as she can get shield advantage, it can pretty much beat any Pokemon out there. Let's get to some battles. So in game 1, I went against a Pidgeot. In the Pidgeot matchup, Hypno's actually in a really good position because all it needs to do is that it needs to basically throw Thunder Punches as quickly as possible. The Pidgeot will have the pressure to basically throw and attack as quickly as possible as well. They're mostly going to go for Feather Dance, but they may go for a Brave Bird. Either way, you don't want to block it. If they Brave Bird your Hypno, it'll probably kill it and then you'll bring out Electivire to farm it down. If they end up Feather Dancing, what you want to do is you want to basically get your second Thunder Punch out and then switch out to Electivire anyway. At this point, your Electivire should have shield advantage, meaning that it can pretty much win the switch no matter what. My opponent specifically brought out a Mudfish, which is really bad for me. What you do in this is you basically want to throw an Ice Punch and then you want to CMP tie the Wild Charge. That way they take out your Electivire and you can basically get out of there as quickly as possible while doing as much damage as possible. When they take out the Electivire, you want to basically bring Greedent and farm it down. Now normally I wouldn't block with a Greedent against a Mudboy, but because of the situation, I figured you might as well block something, and it's probably going to be a Blizzard. My opponent then brings out Registeel, which is the last thing I really want to see in this position. Registeel is actually really rough for both my Greedent as well as my hit. Fortunately, they both have some play. With Greedent, I'm just going to be spamming these crunches as quickly as possible. I want to make sure I have just a little bit of energy for the Pidgeot though. I think this Pidgeot's about to Brave Bird, which is okay with me. It might take out my Greedent, but even then, it doesn't. Greedent is just too tanky. So I'm going to throw the Body Slam over here, and I'm going to switch into my Hypno to get some farm and get a Fire Punch ready for the Registeel. With a Fire Punch charged up, I'm feeling pretty good about this fight over here. I think that even if he takes out my Hypno, I can probably still get a Crunch off before he takes me out. This Fire Punch is going to hit this Registeel uncontested, but I don't think it's going to take it out. I'm going to try and now do just as much chip damage as possible with just Confusions, and actually ends up taking it out. There goes game 1. In game 2, I get a really awkward matchup. It's a Bronzong, which Hypno's actually really bad against, but the Fire Punches are effective. So I'm going to actually bank my Hypno, bring out my Greedent, and try to go for some crunches. They respond with a Seal Safe Swap, which is actually really cool. I think Seal's really a really cool Pokemon, but over here, Greedent's going to out Body Slam the Seal all day long. In this situation, you wouldn't block the first one, but you might block a second one. Really, the trick to this match is you kind of want to match shields if necessary. Otherwise, you wouldn't actually block anything if you didn't have to. The key thing that I want to do is I actually want to leave this battle with energy so I can immediately crunch on the Bronzong. The reason why I'm blocking is because I want to basically commit to the farm down, and I want to make sure my Greedent's a really solid threat against the Bronzong. My opponent brings up Bronzong, which is what I'm really looking forward to. I would throw my first crunch. It's going to do, I think, like about half its health. meaning that it now has a lot of serious things to worry about. With the crunch debuff, it has to block the second crunch over here. Now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to actually try to race to a third crunch so that I can take it out. Now you'll see over here that I actually threw that third crunch on the 9th turn, meaning it's going to get a free confusion, but that's okay because I'm going to take it out. The alternative for them was to basically use their second shield, which is actually not a position they want to be in. Their final opponent's a really great closer and a really good spice pick. It's a Quagsire, meaning that I'm going to be worried about stone edges as well as earthquakes, I think. Either way, I know that my Hypno can take it no problem. At this point, I'm just going to bait that I have a Shadow Ball, but I'm just throwing Fire Punches. It really doesn't matter here. At some point, this Quagsire will have to block these. With this shield down, I actually know that I can finish the game off with my Electivire. And there goes game 2. In game there, my opponent leads with Diggersby, which is just a serious threat. The thing is that with Diggersby, I have to be worried about Hyper Beam and Earthquake, but I don't want to block on either my Hypno nor my Greedent, which is really awkward. Like, I know this is going to be an Earthquake, but I really want to block it? Not really. The reason is because I know that Diggersby is really fat and doesn't do a lot of damage, and so is my Hypno. At this point, I'm just going to go for neutral damage Fire Punches and I have to live with it. I'm going to go for a second Fire Puncher, and then I'm probably going to switch into my Diggersby to get some extra farm and prepare for the safe swap battle. The thing is, I know that my Hypno here isn't putting enough pressure on Diggersby. Here comes another Earthquake. I'm not going to block it, being really particular on what I want to block. They safe swap into Cresselia, which I think they did it because they don't want me to farm down the Diggersby, which is probably the right call, but the thing is that Cresselia is really bad against Greedent. I'm not sure why they really bring it in. Since they're switch locked, I'm actually just going to continuously throw crunches until I put enough pressure on it. That being said, if they throw a Moonblast here, I'm not worried about it. If they throw a Grass Knot here, I'm not worried about it. The reason is because at this point, Greedent has actually served its purpose. I go for a Body Slam time because I actually don't want to kill it. I bring out my Hypno after this to just snipe farm it. This confusion is kind of important here because I need to make sure that I can get to a Fire Punch before they can get to an Earthquake. I go for the Fire Punch right away, meaning that my opponent now has to choose whether they're going to use a shield here or go ahead and waste all the energy, which they block. I don't need to block this, it's going to be a Fire Punch. Now my opponent's in a really bad position. My opponent brings out a Frostus to go ahead and snipe farm me, which is okay. At the end of the day, I know that my Electivire is going to win the 2v1 shield matchup because all I need to do is get one wild charge off of this Frostlass. There goes their Avalanche, and here comes my double up on the wild charge. Oh, sorry, they have one more Avalanche here. That's fine, not worried about it. They take out my second shield. I'm not worried about it. Going to throw my first wild charge here. They let it go, and I guess they're hoping that the Diggersby can farm down my Electivire, which isn't going to happen. I thought the Ice Punch right away, which they blocked, but I'm going to actually get to another Ice Punch before they can get to a Fire Punch. Either way, my Greedent could have actually farmed down too, so this game was pretty much over. There goes game 3. So game these is a really rough matchup because they start off with a Golden Lickitung. This is a really bad matchup because the lick damage is going to really add up. I safe swap into my Greedent right away, which means that they have to switch because that lick damage does nothing to Greedent. They bring out a Dragalge, which is not super great for me. I'm going to basically try to just Body Slam spam here. The Body Slams are going to add up pretty quickly, and because of that, I'm able to get some decent neutral damage. Now my opponent's in a really good position here. It can either decide if it wants to take me out and win switch, or it can actually let it die. Okay, both are actually really bad for me, but at the end of the day, I'm hoping that they don't have a really good answer to Hypno in the back. I'm actually really happy that I got that Body Slam shield there. Since they Aqua Tailed earlier, I know that I don't have to worry about this Aqua Tail over here. Now in retrospect, I should have blocked it because I wanted to conserve more health on my Greedent. The worst part is I know that I'm in a really bad position because at this point I'm on even shields and they can actually farm down my Greedent and get ahead in energy. Now I'm in a really bad position because this Frostless has, I believe, 5 Powder Snows, and I have no way to catch up. I'm trying to think of any win conditions at this point, but honestly, I think that this game is pretty much over. I'm going to block this and try to go for a Fire Punch in hopes that they actually waste their second charge move here. That being said, I can't fathom a single reason why they should use a charge move here. It just wouldn't make any sense. This is actually probably my biggest mistake here. I switched out into the Electivire when I should have just stayed in. If I stayed in, it would have put pressure on the Frostless to actually go ahead and try to finish me off with a charge move, or else I could have gotten a Fire Punch off. If I had done that, I actually could have gotten my Electivire to charge up with energy to take out the Frostless, and then try to go 2v1 shields against the Lickitung. At least you can still see that the Electivire can beat the Lickitung in the no shield matchup. That's kind of cool, at least. They brought out Frostless to farm down my Electivire, and now they can just go ahead and Shadow Ball my Hypno. Really bad misplay on my part. There goes game 4. In game 5, they start off with a Register, which, as we all know, isn't a great match for Hypno. I'm basically going to try to throw out this Fire Punch as quickly as possible. I'm pretty sure that I get 2 Fire Punches before they get 2 Flash Cannons. Here comes the first Flash Cannon. I'm going to go ahead and let it go through. Not worried about it just yet. The one good thing about going against one-turn moves like Lock On or Dragon Breath is that you don't have to worry about giving too many free turns. This is because you can't really sneak in a one-turn move, or if you do, it doesn't really matter. Here comes the second Fire Punch. So they blocked this one. I'm going to go ahead and let my Hypno go in insertion because it served its purpose. Because my opponent blocked it, they actually put themselves in a really bad position because I know they're relatively energy dry. The play here for me is to basically CMP tie against the Register and go ahead and have some extra energy for the next match coming up. If it blocks it, then it wastes the shield. If it doesn't block it, it means it wastes the energy. I now have energy advantage on whatever comes out, and if I need to switch out into, for example, my Greedent, I can do that right away. Since Cresselia comes out, I throw out a Wild Charge because I know it's going to take a little longer for them to hit the Grass Knot, and then after this Wild Charge, I'm going to switch into Greedent. Since Electivire is now gone, I still want to maintain that shield advantage because I want to make sure that I can win the last fight. When Pelipper comes out, I know this game is over because Green can actually out-spam the Pelipper, and on top of that, even if it takes out my Greedent, I can actually just revenge farm with my Electivire and take out the Cresselia afterward. At this point, it doesn't matter if it's a Hurricane or if it's a Weather Ball. If it's a Hurricane, fine, I go ahead and bring out my Electivire, but if it's the Weather Ball. The Pelipper is going to go down to this body slam over here. I'm going to go ahead and go for a crunch on this Cresselia, but it actually throws beforehand. I'm thinking to myself, if it's another Grass Knot, I'm not worried about it, but it's being Future Sight. It takes up my Greedent, but even still not worried about it because I'm going to reach 2 Wild Charges before they reach 3 any charge move. So this doesn't matter here. If they throw their first charge move, I'm going to block it. It's a Grass Knot, still worth blocking. I'm going to go ahead and go for my first Wild Charge. This should be a CMP tie, but it might not be. Yeah, there you go, CMP tie. After I block this, I'm going to go ahead and throw the Wild Charge and go and finish the game off. And there goes game 5. My first 10 games with Electivire weren't super great, mostly because it was using Thunder Punch. After I made that change, it was just so much better. I think the Electivire is a really good Pokemon. It does require that shield advantage. If you can get it down, basically it's virtually unstoppable. 2 Wild Charges from Electivire can pretty much take out anything. If not, Ice Punch can take care of the rest. Let me know what you guys thought of the team in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, go and give me a like, subscribe, and then check out my other videos over here. I wish y'all luck in the Go Battle League.